Greetings, Fernand. It's been far too long.
Ah, Claire. You know, it still confounds me that you decided to enlist with the Knights. Your father is too lenient with you. Always has been.
And why shouldn't I be a knight? I wield a lance and ride a horse as well as the best of you. Perhaps even better. Why else would they allow me to join? Heavens, you and my brother were the ones who taught me to fight and ride.
Because you harangued us without end. You always were keen on following Clive. Honestly, we assumed it was a phase you would grow out of. You should be looking for a husband, not brandishing a weapon. Unless you expect to meet your soulmate on the battlefield.
I have no fondness for barbaric men. But pursuing a warrior's path does not doom me to a life of spinsterhood. Now that I'm a Knight of Sophia, I can stay here at the castle, where I can go to royal balls and meet fine gentlemen. What say you to that?
I say that you should have listened to your vows more carefully. Knighthood affords little time to twirl about in circles and socialize. Day and night, we train and ride out on expeditions and other missions.
What? Goodness, I don't remember pledging to do all that. Perhaps I will have to seek my beloved on the field of battle after all. Still, it's not all bad. The Knights are full of handsome, noble scions after all. I know! Fernand, why don't you introduce me to someone? Surely you must know many suitable suitors in suits of armor.
Well, I suppose it depends on what manner of man you fancy.
Let me think. He'd have to come from a house at least as respectable as my own. He should be as tall as Clive and fair of face. Well-lettered and gifted in the arts of war and defense. And of course he must be well-versed in poetry and music and... Oh, he should own 4 villas, one for each of the seasons. Does that narrow it down?
It certainly does. You just described your brother.
That is not true!
And you don't even realize it. Clearly, you're still a child. You won't find a husband if you keep clinging to your brother in such a way.
Oh, really? And what about you? You've been clinging to my brother since before I was born, Fernand. Is there anything you should be telling me, After all, you aren't exactly scrambling to find a pretty maid of your own.
We are not talking about me.
Look at you, so easily shaken. I was merely teasing. Besides, Clive already told me what your true weakness is. He claims you prefer your ladies like your oranges, full and ripe. Now, which of the Knights' eligible ladies is juicy enough for you?
I am going to find your brother and bury him in a very deep hole. Touché, Claire. I'm glad you had your fun. Now, farewell.
What? Wait, come back here! You can't run from your destiny!
Oh, Clive. Have the other Knights been making you feel at home?
Ah, Lady Mathilda. Yes, everyone has been very kind to me thus far. But the first 3 months have been naught but training. I long for a fight.
Well, you'll get one. The training is to make certain you're ready for it.
I just want a chance to prove myself, to be one step closer to you.
Why me?
You do not know? The bards sing of Lady Mathilda as the finest of all the Knights of Sophia. Boys the Kingdom round whisper your name before they go to sleep. I fear my friends and I were no exception. Let us just say you are the object of much adulation, my lady.
This comes as a surprise. I thought boys dreamed of fighting alongside heroes such as Sir Myson.
Sir Myson is indeed a man worthy of much respect. I can only hope to one day be half the legend that he is. But who do you think it is that lights the fires of a boy's heart? A stoic old man, or a beautiful woman?
The fires would sputter out if the lads actually saw me in combat.
Certainly not. You are never more beautiful than when riding across a battlefield. The dresses and dour looks you wear in court only obscure your radiance.
Dour? Though it is true that I abhor walking the castle like some pretty bauble. Speaking of which, how is your sister, the one who follows you like a puppy? Whenever I would try to talk to you, she would cut in.
She's a handful, that one. You should have seen her ball when I said I was enlisting.
That just shows her love. You're lucky. But I must confess, I'm glad we can finally have a conversation alone. If you take my meaning.
I believe I do. It seems we'll have more chances to talk here amidst the dust of battle than we ever will surrounded by the fancy tapestries of the castle.
So it seems. Who even knows when I'll next get to don a dress and a dour expression? What?
I was just thinking. The next time you do wear a dress, might I ask for a dance?
But that might be weeks, or months.
I am a patient man, and the wait will be well worth it in the end.
Very well. A dance it is.
Truly? Thank you, milady. I shall look forward to that day.
And there he goes. By the gods, is he skipping? Wait, why am I laughing? I don't remember how to dance. This is going to end with me crushing his toes into paste. Ah, there he is. Fernand!
Lady Mathilda, did you need something?
I am looking for Clive.
We're not attached at the hip, you know.
No, but you are like brothers. And perhaps I just think of you as a single entity. In any case, pray forgive me if I upset you.
I'm not upset.
Are you certain? It seems every time I try to talk to you, you refuse to look me in the eye. If I did something wrong, tell me. I don't want you to hate me.
Hate you? Of course not. But all you ever ask about is Clive.
Oh, right. I can see how that would be grating. It's just, well, your stories about Clive are far more interesting than the ones he tells.
For true? I can't imagine what I could tell you that he hasn't already.
Oh, if you only knew. I adore talking with him, but, well, he doesn't know how to loosen up. He's very self-conscious. I want to hear about his misadventures, not just what he thinks I want to hear.
Wait. So he never told you about sneaking into the mess hall before lunch? Or the story of licking the cream off the cake? Surely he's told you about trying to ride those sheep. He scared them so much, they fled the pen and rampaged across the village.
I fear he neglected to mention any of those escapades.
Well, he may look all gallant and composed, but let me tell you, Clive can be quite the ruffian when no one is looking. He makes me look like a saint. I suggest you be careful.
Your suggestion is noted. This is why I like talking to you, Fernand. But it's not the only reason.
Oh?
Of course I enjoy hearing about Clive, but I also enjoy watching you as you tell the stories.
Is that so?
Your eyes light up when you talk about him. I can tell how happy it was for the two of you to grow up together. It's a type of affection that he and I will never have.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
All I know is that I'd like to see the site of Clive's sheep rampage. Or visit the kitchen where you defrocked that poor cake.
Well, I'd be happy to take you. And I'm not just saying that. We can all go together. You, me, and Clive.
Thank you, Fernand. I would love that.
Of course, you'll need to get Claire's permission first. She guards her brother like a lion, so be warned.
Oh, I am well aware. Maybe you can tell me what she likes so I don't have to face her empty-handed.
Leave it to me.
Forsyth, I'm sorry, are you reading?
Hello, Lukas.
It strikes me as unwise for you to have your head in a book at a time like this.
Yes, you're probably right. But I swear I'm paying attention to the battle. Please don't tell Sir Clive about this.
Peace, friend. I was just looking out for you. If I may, which literary work has so enraptured your interest?
Oh, this? It's an old tactical codex. My father lent it to me when I left home. Well, it's more like I took it. My father is a scholar, so I spent my childhood surrounded by books.
Really? I didn't know. That must have been wonderful. I do enjoy a good page-turner.
Yes, I've noticed that you're something of an avid reader.
Guilty as charged. My father wouldn't have it, though. He insisted I train in the arts of war. What I wouldn't have given for just one full day, curled up with a good book.
Really? Well, that's one way to look at it, I suppose.
Forsyth, do you have a moment?
Of course. What is it, Lukas?
Remember when I was telling you about my father forcing me to train? I couldn't help but notice it upset you. So I was hoping to clear the air.
Sorry. Was it that obvious? Well, all right. We can clear the air. Let's see. How do I put this? Since I was small, all I've ever wanted was to become a knight. But my father insisted I wield a pen and barred me from the sword or lance.
Ah, so we were quite different.
I would have given anything for the opportunities your father gave you. So it hurt when you said you'd rather read. Books are easy to find, after all.
Well, I still would have gladly traded places with you. Whoever dealt life's cards was clearly in his cups.
Indeed.
Really, Forsyth? Reading in the heat of battle again? One day this will get you killed.
What? Lukas, what a surprise! You look well.
Mm-hmm. What are you reading today?
Oh, this old tome? Merely a chronicle of Zophian history. I started mixing up my reading list after our last chat.
Really? Why's that?
You convinced me I was being a fool. As a boy, I told myself the only books I had use for were combat manuals. I passed up countless valuable lessons just to prove a point to my father. Now I'm trying to serve as lieutenant to Sir Clive, and look at me. Every day is a painful reminder of just how little I actually know.
Nonsense. Though if it makes you feel better, I have just as many regrets. Every time I barely escape with my life in battle, I curse myself for not taking my early training more seriously. But at least time is on our side. It's never too late to learn after all.
You're right. A warrior can be a scholar as well. You know what, Lukas? I'm going to keep reading this book. And if the enemy comes at me, I'll be ready to stab them with knowledge.
If they don't knight you for that, then something is clearly wrong. Python, I think an entire village could be swallowed up in one of your yawns. Perhaps you should try sleeping instead of staggering back to camp at sunup. I cannot turn a blind eye to this type of behavior forever. You're a soldier. Occasionally, we need you to behave like one.
Sir, yes, sir. Crivens, what is it with you knightly types? Don't you know how to get out and let your greaves down a little?
We haven't always been so formal, but now Sophia is at war, and we must...
Wait, stop. You actually used to be more footloose and fancy-free? So you're saying that if I dig deep enough, I might find dirt on Clive?
I wouldn't go that far. But I have heard tale that all the ladies of court would giggle as he passed by.
Boring! I mean, at least tell me they were salacious giggles. Come on, Lukas, fill old Python in here. Is our Clive a dirty boy? Huh? I promise I'll only tell my closest friends.
Your decorum continues to amaze.
Oi, Lukas!
What is it, Python?
I'm still waiting for a good sordid story involving knights. So what about you?
Me? My past is hardly sordid enough to sate your appetite for gossip.
Are you sure? You know, all the ladies in town keep asking me who the knight in red is. Which, by the way, means they're not paying attention to me, so thanks. But you can make it up to me with an earful of tasty, noble scuttlebutt.
I don't see how that makes any sense whatsoever, but very well. Well, back home, There was a woman I courted for many a year.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Was she a looker? Was it serious? Were her eyes like shimmering...
Stop pestering me like an old maid. Looks like the enemy is nearly upon us. Let's get back to it.
Hey, wait! Come back! I want to hear about your special lady friend! I've got you cornered now, Lukas. Now I'll hear every last juicy detail about that woman you courted.
Juicy? I fear you are going to leave this conversation sorely disappointed.
I'll admit, the mention of her doesn't quite seem to fire your loins. So, what's the story? Don't you love her?
Fire my... Honestly, Python, I'm not certain if I love her or not. Since being parted from her, I feel no particular longing to see her again. I sometimes wonder if a vital part of me is broken. I look at Clive and Mathilda and see... Well, you used the word fire. But whatever it is that they have, I seem to lack it.
Don't you worry. You're still young. The one true love thing isn't for everyone. Certainly not for me. And I dare anyone to tell me that I'm broken.
So you think such lack of feelings are normal?
Perfectly. If you ask me, Clive and Mathilda are the weird ones. The way they look at each other with rainbows shooting from their eyes. Look, one day you might decide you miss your lady. But take it at your own pace.
My own pace? That's surprisingly sound advice.
And if she falls into the arms of another man before you come around, so be it. I'll be here to cheer you up. We can hit the town, quaff some ale, spend all your money. It'll be great.
I don't doubt I would be in good hands.
Oh, Lady Mathilda.
Ah, Claire. It's been a while since we've spoken like this.
It really has. I was dreadfully worried about you after Desai took you captive. Thanks be to the mother that you're safe and sound.
No, thank you, Claire. It was your relentless fighting that put Desai's machinations to an end.
I know what it's like to be held prisoner. I remember how small my cell was in the southern outpost. I could hardly sleep at night for fear of what might happen to me. But when I imagine what you went through, and how long you endured...
You have a good heart, Claire. It means everything to me to know you cared so deeply. But I was never afraid. I knew in my heart that Clive would come for me.
You truly are strong, Mathilda. I hope that I might learn from your courage.
And I from your kindness.
Lady Mathilda, is something amiss? You've been looking at me so intently. I would ask that you speak your mind.
Forgive me, I didn't mean to stare. I just cannot help but notice how much you've changed.
Me? In what way?
Do you recall the last time we spoke like this? You were so compassionate. Recently, I've taken note of how you look out for everyone around you. You're there for them before they even think to ask for help. You've grown into a fine woman.
Really? I hadn't noticed. Also, I think you may be imagining it.
But you just proved it.
I did?
The old Claire would have snapped at the suggestion she'd done any growing up. You always did hate being treated as a child, even when it was the case.
What? That simply isn't true. Well, maybe it's a little true. Lady Mathilda?
Hello, Claire. Do you need something? It's not often you come to me looking for conversation.
Something you told me before has been foremost in my mind of late.
And what is that?
You said I'd grown into a fine woman, but then I started thinking about it. It's not so much that I grew up as that I had to leave part of myself behind. I miss the old days when Clive and Fernand and I lived in the castle. Being a Knight of Zofia was hard work, but I was basically carefree. If ever I became cheeky with you, it's because I was happy. But then the war came and crushed all of our dreams. I grew up thinking that the world revolved around me. But now I feel it's just spinning madly about for absolutely no reason at all.
Claire.
I know. You're going to tell me this is what it means to grow up. But I miss the part of me that believed things would always turn out all right.
You may mourn it all you like, Claire. But such loss is part of growing up. And it's turned you into a fine woman.
Thank you, Mathilda.
And by the way, whoever said that our dreams have been crushed? It's true that things don't always turn out the way we want them to. But we can still find other ways to realize our desires. Just because you see the world for what it is, doesn't mean you have to give up.
I suppose you're right. I have to be stronger. Clive needs me to keep my chin up, after all.
You will be happy again one day, Claire. I promise you this. And Clive and I intend to be part of that happiness.
I hope so.
I know so. And feel free to lean on me more, okay? After all, we'll be sisters someday.
If you keep being this nice, I suppose I'll allow it.
Thank goodness for that.
Wait, is that him? It is! Sir Clive! Sir Clive!
Ah, Forsyth, how fare you?
Never better, sir. I could take on a whole army, so I could. Just watch as I secure us a grand victory in your name, sir.
Splendid. But while I appreciate your enthusiasm, I have a small request. Please do not run headlong into the enemy's ranks again. How many times now have we had to save you because you got separated?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I will strive to do better, sir. And if I fail to learn my lesson, then I am prepared to die a warrior's death for my mistakes.
Let us hope it does not come to that. You know, you have tremendous talent, Forsyth, but you are far too tense. Perhaps you should attempt to loosen up.
Loosen up, sir? All right, sir. I'll work on that right away. Just watch how loose I can be.
Perhaps I am wasting my time. Ah, Forsyth, you're in fine form today.
Sir Clive! Never fear! I intend to slay as many foes as possible in your good name. Long live the Deliverance, and 3 huzzahs for Sir Clive!
Yes, very good. Listen, Forsyth. I couldn't help but eavesdrop when you and Python were talking. You do know that you can speak to me the same as you do him, yes?
Forgive me, sir, but I'm not certain that I grasp your meaning.
With Python, you open up and speak your mind. You're friendly, relaxed. That's what I meant when I said you can loosen up. Just treat me the same as you would Python.
Exactly the same, sir?
All right. Never mind then.
Sir Clive?
Forsyth, what's wrong? You look distressed. What happened to your usual vim and vigor?
I'm sorry, sir. I tried to do as you said. And I mean, I tried everything. But I just can't seem to make it work.
What are you talking about?
You know, being loose. You asked me to treat you the same way as I do Python, remember? But the only way I could do it was to treat Python with more respect. And the filthy things that man says. We ended up coming to blows. Lukas had to step in and pull us apart. How can I ever treat him like you?
I think you may have approached the problem the wrong way.
Sir Clive, why can't things just stay the way they are? You're the land's finest knight, a symbol of everything I've ever admired. And I know this is strange considering how long we've fought together, but I still get excited every time I have a chance to speak with you. If I seem tense or get carried away, it's probably because of that. Do you know what I mean?
Ah, now we're getting somewhere.
We are?
You're finally starting to open up. Just don't overthink it, all right? Also, I assure you that I am not worthy of such levels of admiration. You've seen all the terrible mistakes I've made. I feel guilty being put on anyone's pedestal.
Nonsense, sir. True, losing Sophia Castle was a blow, and we've seen our share of failures. But I've watched you closely. Every time, you picked yourself up, dusted yourself off, and kept going. You are the reason we all still have hope. I want to put you on my pedestal. I want you pedestaled. Because it's my faith in you that gives me the courage to fight without fear. I know Alm may be our leader now, but you're still the banner we look to. You should remember that, sir.
I shall. Thank you, Forsyth. And forgive me for asking you to change who you are. I realize now that you're already the sort of man the Deliverance needs.
You mean it, sir? Oh, thank you. You honor me.
Is the battle over yet? This is exhausting. Just get me as far away from the front lines as possible.
Python.
Yes! Yes?
Why the surprise? I just wanted to see how you were faring.
Oh, well, I suppose I've had better days, sir.
Honesty always was your finest trait. Still, now that Alm has assumed leadership, we've many new recruits. They're inexperienced, and even frightened in many cases. Such men look to you, and it would behoove you to set a better example.
Begging your pardon, but I ain't so sure that's a good idea. Folks already got you and Forsyth and Lukas for role models if they want them. If old Python starts acting all hoity-toity, they'll have no one approachable left. Someone around here has to stay on their level.
I understand, but this is an army. We must also teach them discipline.
You won't get discipline if you don't create a welcoming atmosphere.
And you don't think we have that now?
Well, I didn't say that, sir. But truth is, it's not always easy for everyone to find his or her place here.
I see. Python, I'm glad I found you.
Something wrong?
I must confess, our last discussion has been weighing on me quite heavily. I seek to close the rift between the Deliverance's nobles and commoners. But there are days when it seems to only grow wider. Have I not endeavored to treat those of low birth fairly? I always thought to reward my men based on merit, not station. And yet you believe that some still struggle to fit in.
Well, you won't win any points by using terms like low birth, sir. You make it sound like it's our privilege to be elevated to your level. Like, if we don't have your station, then all we really have are our merits.
I never meant to slight you, Python. Nor anyone else.
Yeah, I know that. And anyway, you didn't create the order of the world. It ain't your fault. But, respectfully and all, you might want to stop preaching understanding. You can't understand us. Not really. Your life is just very different.
You're right. I've never had to worry about starving or freezing to death. I have never had to face the same indignities or despair as you. Yet in trying to champion those causes, perhaps I have become a hypocrite.
Don't flog yourself about it. Lots of commoners want a champion like you. Hell, Forsyth practically walks behind you tossing out rose petals. But some of us common folk just aren't ever gonna relate to you, so... You know what? What do I know? Forget I said anything, sir.
Python, wait. Python.
Sir Clive, your spirits lifted yet? Sorry for running my mouth, by the way. After our last heart-to-heart, everyone blamed me for putting you out of sorts. Claire practically had me at lance point. Wait, not practically, literally. Anyway, if you could tell him to let up on poor Python, I'd appreciate it.
I apologize for what you went through, especially that lance business. It took me some time to come to grips with all you told me. Would you hear me out?
All right.
Python, I believe in structure. There should be a king and a nobility, and beneath them, common people. That is the structure I was born into. And, to be blunt, I still believe it is the structure a kingdom needs to survive. So I apologize if that does not sit well with you. But I can believe all that, and still have tremendous respect for you. I mean what I say, Python. noble or common. Any man who fights at my side is my ally and friend. I just wanted you to know that.
I really got your silk stockings in a bunch, didn't I? Well, so long as we're leveling with each other, I think you're dead wrong. Nobles living fancy while the people starve ain't structure. It's privilege. And I hate any man who looks down on me because of it. Now, does that mean I hate you? No. You may not be my favorite person in all the land, but...
Clearly not.
Touché. Well, let's just agree to disagree on this point, huh? You may not know what it is to starve or freeze, but you still put your life and livelihood at risk for the sake of others. That's enough to win my respect. I mean, it's sure as hell something you'll never catch me doing. So even if you don't have my undying affection, rest assured that you have my bow, at least until this mess is over.
This gladdens me, Python. Thank you. I cannot say what waits for us at the end of all this, but I hope that we will secure better lives for noble and commoner alike. So please, keep fighting. If not for me, then for Alm.
I said I would already, didn't I? Whatever. You got it, sir.